What's good, y'all? It's Pod.cannion. I'm back with another reaction video, and we have a Josh Johnson video. Now, what I'm about to do is, I haven't seen like the last 5 Josh Johnson videos. Um, and I'm about to pretty much binge them with y'all. Um, I'm gonna try to shoot these back to back to back, so unless like I really feel like yapping, we just gonna be watching and laughing. Just like a content catch up. I appreciate those who have continued to like show support and like I like continued to get subscribers even though like I've been like sort of gone. Like I posted like a review that I shot a little bit ago and like little songs I'll do, but like for the majority of this month I just like have not been here for real. So it feels good to be bringing that content back to y'all, bro. And yeah, if y'all like the video, like it, subscribe if you're new, because all we do is chill over here, kick it, react, all that shit like that. This is the random channel for me. And you want to see more, consider hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, let's get it. Josh Johnson.
I was talking to one of my friends, and he said that he knew the first time he knew his like neighborhood was broke.
Oh yeah, this is like a 3-week-old video. And then I'm gonna let it play. I promise it's my last yap. Pretty much, I like watching Josh Johnson for like current event stuff. So like the more we watch these, the more like up to date it might become. That's about it. Yeah.
Was when the bank closed. It's a pretty good indicator. The bank holds that branch's money, and that branch is falling off. And said he went to the bank, and he basically just straight up asked the teller, he's like, "Hey, do you know why this branch is closing?" And she was like, "Are you here to make a deposit or withdrawal?" And he was like, "Withdrawal." And she was like, "Yeah, that's why. That's that's it in a nutshell. That's exactly what's happening.
Nobody's withdrawing money.
No, we're just kind of a building with a little bit of parking."
A little bit of.
I don't know. I look back at.
Gusto is the #1 choice for small business payroll.
Yep, that's why I had it
It's
sped up a
fast.
little bit.
The ups and downs I've had in my life. I've been like broke off and on my entire life,
Facts.
And there's a weird solace sometimes in being broke at the right time. Everyone thinks that the security is in having means and having money, but sometimes not being a part of the circus is its own solace in a weird way.
Man,
You know that it's bad when you're really shopping at the dollar store.
my nigga.
Like the use at the dollar store. You need a fly swipe, might as well run up in the dollar store. You know what I mean? You need like a dustpan, might as well run up in the dollar.
Literally, when I first started living by myself, like, it was that bad. Like I literally like just anything to put in my stomach. I was like, I have $10, get paid in a week. Dollar store.
But if you're really shopping at the dollar store, things are not great.
Definitely
I would
could
go
have
to the
been
dollar
better.
store for stuff you shouldn't even be buying from the dollar store. They sell it, but
Right. Oh man.
the cashier look at you like, you
You
sure?
sure?
I'm talking about when you have to get your meat at the dollar store.
Oh no.
I knew I was in a bad situation where I went to a dollar store and was looking at that meat.
The most like protein type of thing I would buy from the dollar store is probably like either like the most protein thing I would probably get is like a protein bar. There is no way because I'm not gonna lie, I just did not eat meat. Like if it was one of them days where like I just had to go to the dollar store, I wouldn't eat that because I feel like I'm poisoning myself at that point. I don't know.
And I was like, because the meat at the dollar store, they don't go into specifics. You go to Kroger, Walmart, you go to Target, you go to any of these places, and you'll see the brand of the meat, and then you'll see, all of the little no preservatives ever, completely organic, all the stuff. When you go to the dollar store and you buy your meat, it just says the price and it says meat. And you're like, maybe if I don't ask any questions, it could be whatever I think it is.
Low key, that's how you gotta do it.
I also got a lot of stuff at the dollar store, even as a kid, that I look back and I'm like, that probably wasn't the best.
Man.
Like a good example, if you know, you know.
Oh, here we go.
When you shop at the dollar store, especially if you ever got toys at the dollar store, you know that dollar store toys are in a very specific, slightly copyright infringed arena of toy. You know, like you would have a G.I. Joe, but it doesn't say G.I. Joe. It just say a soldier. And you buy the soldier, and it even got the setup like a G.I. Joe, like it stands like a G.I. Joe, but the legs a little too short. So some very long arms. I couldn't tell if the arms were long or the legs were
That's
short.
actually kind of crazy.
And it doesn't have like grip action. It says that on the front, grip action. It just has a hole. They didn't make a hand. They made a hole stub. And then this hole stub is what you go ahead and put the little toy gun through. But then they didn't really measure out the gun versus the hand. And so the gun is not in proportion at all. So it looked like this would blow his arm off if he tried to shoot it. But you bring it home and you're playing with it. And you're like, yeah, soldier, get him. And he's like, I'm gonna get him.
I'm gonna get him.
Oh, I'm gonna get him. They get
In
him.
the small.
Trust me.
The shorter legs.
Nah, they getting it. Look. Point over here. Point over here. No, it was terrible. It was very bad. It was horrible. No, you would have those dollar store crayons. That's another one. It's a very specific type of drawing as a kid. Because those dollar store crayons, they melt your hand. So you got to be quick with it. You got some imagination. It needs to come out now. Don't.
Man.
You got to put those crayons in the fridge. I remember
Crayons
being
in
around
the
some of these
fridge.
crayon kids being like, your crayon's stale as hell.
See, I never would put
Man,
two and two together.
man.
Like, I was just
Y'all
like,
don't even
dang.
freshen up your crayons. That's crazy. That's why your pictures stink. You know what I mean? My pictures smell like leftovers.
And I would be the ones with the stale crayons. I would be like, I just don't get why these crayons just seem better. Oh my gosh. Like, I remember like when like, especially in like elementary school, there would be like the different crayon packs you'd have. And then the coolest kid would have like the 24 crayon pack with, I think it had like a pencil sharpener, like a crayon sharpener in the back. Man, I was fiending for those. Of course, I never had one on me, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. That's crazy.
I remember one of my favorite toys from the dollar store was like a Stretch Armstrong, right?
Stretch Armstrong.
It was Stretch Armstrong.
It was
only
like
stretch for like 3 days. Like you only got
what?
After that, it would get hard, and if you tried to stretch it after it got hard, it would cut your finger open. I don't know what it was made of, but it was the most malleable, unmalleable thing. It was Play-Doh and adamantium together.
Damn.
No, it was crazy. And that's the thing too, is when you're growing up in this situation, for anyone who knows what I'm talking about from experience, then you also know that it's very hard to know that you're broke, especially if you're a kid. It's hard to know if you are surrounded by love. My family loved me so much, so much. They still do. I make it sound like that's.
They still do.
They still love me. But no, I was surrounded by love. I had my grandparents, and my mom, my dad's love. I had my aunt, my uncle's love. I had my cousin's love. I had so much love around me. And when you're surrounded by that much love, you don't know that you don't have money when you have that much love until you meet somebody who has both.
Dude, that's the quote
That
right
is a curious
there.
experience. Like when you,
That is the
when you're like, when you got
quote
both
right
parents and a
there.
pool, okay, I think
Okay.
there can be upgrades to life. I see that now. To me, greed is a paradox because you want everything. Even if you have more than enough, even if you have so much that
That's
what
everybody.
you have is starting to hurt you in the long run. You see it with the way that hedge funds cannibalize whole companies. It's like, okay, everybody made some short-term profit, but now this thing that people used to love doesn't exist.
I got something.
Oh man, see, this is why I watch, bro. He be spitting some
I
facts.
go the other way. When I speak, my knees go weak.
What's happening to me? I really can't skip that ad. That's insane. At least it had some song. What's the reason why?
Like you take like a Southwest.
My fault, y'all. They got that song stuck in my head now. God
You know,
dang
Southwest, people used to love Southwest. Bags fly free. Affordable tickets. You just sit wherever. You don't have to wait for the person. Southwest used to be so fire because then you don't have to wait for the person to get to their seat and you don't have to get up for anybody. Do you know what it's like to just be in your seat on the plane? And
Haven't
it's
been on a
almost
plane
everyone
in
almost
a
there. There's a
minute.
couple of stragglers. There's almost nobody coming down that aisle anymore. You even settle in. You're like, oh, I may not have a seat next to me. This may be the promised land.
The promised land.
You get so comfortable, you're like, man, I might put my other leg over here.
No facts. When you get
Southwest
this
had a brilliant idea. And the bags were flying for free, which makes sense. The bags don't know where they're going. Why should I have to pay for this bag to have an experience?
That's what I'm saying. They just want that. Want that check.
And then greed, and then private equity, and then hedge funds, and then, shareholder meetings, and then dividends. All the things start to creep in, and it's like, maybe we'll stop doing everything that is why everyone likes us. Maybe we'll just
That is literally airplane companies. Yeah.
But then you actually look at the people who fly Southwest, and they're like, oh, y'all aren't nice enough to be like them, though. Like,
that's why.
your seat doesn't even go back like that. Why would I pay for everything here that I pay for over there? That's crazy. And so then you see people plummet, because they're making decisions based on money, but not money that they need, just more money that they might be able to get. You know? And there's only so much that a business can grow. I understand a startup's passion, and that passion makes sense because the company just started. But after a while, it's like, do you really need to own everything? If the answer is yes, it's like,
if the answer is yes.
And they don't say it to us. They say it to each other. You ever get a hold of a recording of a closed-door meeting and the way they talk about their own customers?
Dude.
That's why greed is like a paradox to me. You're so greedy that then you end up cannibalizing your own company, your own efforts, yourself. You end up hurting yourself.
Damn.
American greed is another paradox because as much as we know that the millionaires and billionaires maybe got their money in a way that's a little nasty, we also kind of want to be them a little bit.
Yep.
Everybody wants their piece.
Damn.
But we know how bad it is. There are people who I know who want to be billionaires. They aspire to be billionaires. But if you ask them to name like a good billionaire, it's a hard quiz.
Dude, that's what I'm
But
saying.
they want to be the billionaire because they're like, no, I will be different.
Only one way to find out.
That to me is like a drug dealer saying, no, I'm gonna be different. Oh, how so? Oh, I'll only sell drugs to bad people. How will you know that they're bad people? Word will get around and they'll buy my drugs and I'll be like, that's a bad guy. No, it's not going to be different just because it's you. That's the trick as well. No, it's different when I do it.
Man.
It's different when it's me. It's different when it's for
He's
me.
really
It's different when it's
spitting
for
right
my
now.
family.
Like, holy shit.
So then you hear people talk about recession.
Like, this is a lot of questions that people don't think that far about. Like, damn, did you? Because every billionaire currently, now don't get me wrong, a majority of billionaires just got, support from what I'm saying, it's generational wealth. It's only I think 30 or 25%. Remember, most percentages are wrong. But in that ballpark of first generation billionaires, and it doesn't seem like there's a new wave of change. You know what I'm saying? It kind of seems like once you're in that spot, it's kind of like with music or with YouTube. In a way, you have aspirations of how it can be, but when you're actually in that space, when you're actually doing the thing, it's always a little bit different than what you originally envisioned.
The recession is coming. Recession is looming. And to be fair, people have said that since the last recession. Every year, I'm not an economist, but every year there's somebody that's like, it's coming.
It's coming.
Batten down the hatches. And so you're in this situation where, people are very worried, and understandably so. Because it's not really about the money. Money is mostly like the conduit. Money's mostly the placeholder. There are people who find money to be a game, and for them, the number is the important thing. How much actual money they can stack and hoard is the real thing. I want to show how rich I am is the real thing. But for almost everybody else, it's about their survival. It's about taking care of yourself. It's about taking care of the people that you love. So when they hear that there's going to be a recession, they're not really thinking like, oh, the number will go down. They're thinking about food. They're thinking about housing. They're thinking about resources. You know? And the only way forward is with other people. There's no facts. We've proven that this thing doesn't work. And by this thing, I'm not just talking about like one specific system. I'm not talking about like capitalism. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about we've proven that a true rat race does not work. I can't believe the world watched Squid Game and was like, yeah, I think I could win the pot.
Literally, like,
missing the point.
Missing the point.
You know? And then I think the other problem is that if you are pitted against people, if you're pitted against the other 330 so million Americans, then yeah, the odds look insurmountable. But when you see how many people are actually in your situation, and you see how many millions of people are just like you, and you put yourself on the same side as them, all of a sudden, all of the weight, it gets a little bit easier.
Come on.
There are people around the world that will never have access to the things that we have access to that make it work. And so sometimes we stress, oh, how am I going to make it work? And it's like the number one way is through community. Your future is your neighbor.
He's fucking spitting.
There's no other way forward.
Yes, he's fucking spitting right now. Nothing but
and
facts.
I know that can be scary. That's an idea where you have to lay down so much trust at the feet of people that you don't know.
Man.
That's very scary because I've had good neighbors and I've had bad neighbors. I've had very bad neighbors. I had a neighbor who stole my trash can. It's the trash can.
Not even the...
Put your trash in there too?
Literally.
Stole my trash can and live next to me. Like, I'm not going to notice my trash can.
He tried to swap him out or something?
He was big too, and I'm pretty sure he sold drugs, so I wasn't going to take my trash can back. But I was like, you'll put my trash in my trash can over here, though. Just because you stole the trash can doesn't mean I'm going to get another trash can. It's a trash can, and trash goes in. You could put your trash over here, but then you wanted to put it in front of your yard. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm sure you have a gun, so I won't make a big deal of it. I've had bad neighbors, and I've also had incredibly kind, incredibly sweet neighbors. I had neighbors that made any transition period I've been having in my life easier. I remember when I moved to Chicago and I was living in my first apartment.
Okay.
I had a neighbor that knocked on my door. I had been living there for like 2 days and I didn't have stuff. I'm like this broke kid who just moved to Chicago with like 2 suitcases of like clothes and a couple of other things. And so knocks on my door and it's like, hey, he's an older guy. And he's like, hey, I saw that you moved in. If you need anything or you have any questions about the building, just hit me up. I live right there. And I'm thinking he's like the building manager or something. So I'm like, oh, yeah, what's your name? And we get to talking a little bit. And as we're talking, I realize he doesn't work for the building at all. This dude is literally just checking on me for the sake of checking on me.
Man.
And he's like, if you need anything, because I saw,
those are very rare.
You were having a little trouble. I couldn't have caught up to you, but I was going to help you up and everything. And I was like, oh, thank you, man. And we didn't see each other often.
Really nice.
And I remember the day that I moved out because I ran into him again. I ran into him and his wife. And he was like, man, I'm sorry to see you go. Because I can tell, we never really got to chop it up or anything, but I could tell that I like the way you move. And you didn't cause any trouble. You didn't...
Trump is now in his first month in office, and we want to know how you think he's doing as president. You guys know how I think he's doing.
You were just cool. And, I wish I would have knocked on your door a couple more times, right? I never forgot about that guy because even knowing that there was someone there if I was having a problem, it just made living there on my own a little bit easier. Just in the back of my head. Once again, we didn't even have that many interactions. I only knocked on his door a couple times, and a couple of times I knocked on his door, he needed help too. There was one time where we had in our building a chute for the laundry that nobody used. Nobody ever used it because it's not like it was one person. Do you know what I mean? Like, the chute for... This isn't Eloise. Like, it's weird that there was a chute for the laundry because it just went to the floor down there, and you'd have to go down there to wash your own clothes anyway. So I guess if you wanted to save yourself the weight of the trip, you could push all the clothes down and let them get nice and nasty, and then slip through the chute, and then hit the ground, and now... It's got different stuff on it than the reason that you're washing it. Nobody used it. And nobody used it because it was nasty. And so then one day, the actual building manager poured a whole bunch of, bug poison down it to try to, kill some of the bugs that have been living in there. And the bugs were like, you know what? I think we'll go everywhere else. And so
Wow.
then one day I came home and my
Nasty.
apartment was just overrun with bugs, and it didn't make sense because I didn't even have stuff. I had
Come on.
a fork,
A fork?
a bowl,
A bowl? Dude?
like it was it wasn't a plate. It was a plate that you would put a teacup on. I didn't even have dishes to be nasty enough to have all these bugs. So I'm freaking out. I'm killing a bunch of bugs, and then I run over and I knock on his door, and when I open his door, he looks like me. He's like, "You too?"
You too?
Both of us just knowing that we're both dealing with bugs was enough to make the whole thing easier. He helped me kill some of my bugs. I helped him kill some of his bugs.
Come on.
And we were both very upset with the building manager.
Facts.
I had another neighbor when I was living this like short little bit in this, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like, it was a house. It was a house. But it was
It
like.
was a house. Okay.
You know how there's it wasn't a duplex. Okay. The house I was living in was like perfectly split in two, right? To make two unlivable houses. Okay. So I wasn't staying there for long, but it was just two completely unlivable houses, right? And I had a neighbor that lived next to me where I moved in, and once again, this older lady, so sweet. Sweet as could be, knocks on my door, and it's like, "Hey, I saw that you just moved in. I wanted to." She had baked something, like old school, like out of the movies. She had baked something. She was like, "I made
That
you a
is
little something,
old
something. I
school
know
for
moving is
sure.
hard. I know sometimes you don't have anything to eat right after you move, so this is for you, right?" And I was like, "Oh," I didn't even know what to do. I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And she was like, "Yeah, I like to help people get their bearings, and just so you know, I just want to be the one to tell you so you don't have to find out on your own. There's a crackhead in the wall."
Low key, W neighbor. W neighbor. But what? Just so you don't have to find out yourself.
And when you get that type of warning, it does make you look at the muffins twice.
Man.
One has nothing to do with the other. But I was still like, oh. And she was like, "Yeah, we thought it was a bird for a long time." And then he started talking.
And then he started talking.
And so if you hear anything in the middle of the night, just pound on the wall a couple times, and he'll stop. I was like, okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And I closed the door, and I sat in silence for the rest of the night.
Right.
Waited to hear a noise that would never come.
Oh.
It wasn't until like months later I heard some scratching on the wall, and I was like, how does somebody just live with it? And so I knocked on her door, and she came to the door. She was like, "You hear him too?" And I was like, look, I know you lived here longer than me, but in case it is a bird, maybe we should call animal control. Just throwing it out there, right?
Okay.
And she's like, "You can do what you want."
Jeez, sure it's a crackhead.
I called animal control, and then they could hear the scratching too. And then they went ahead and went on the roof, and they said that they found a slight hole in the roof, and turns out it was a bird.
Nice.
It had been a bird the entire time, and
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was a bird when she heard it, but maybe she just had the TV on. Maybe she was like, he's talking.
He's talking.
Animal control leaves with the bird.
Nice.
I go over, I tell her it was a bird. Animal control called the bird, and she was like, "Thank you so much."
Aw.
Seriously, thank you so much. That has been happening for like 8 months, off and on, and I was positive it was a crackhead. And I guess that's what a good neighbor does. I guess a good neighbor lets you know nobody's in your wall.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I think fundamentally the toughest thing people are facing right now is like a true way forward where they can trust other people to help them and take care of them. And I can't tell you to just blindly put your faith in people that you don't know, even if they live next to you. But what I
'Cause
can
that's
tell you
dumb.
is that most people return energy. Most people
Give
give like for like.
Come on.
So if there's a
That's the
community
best
that
way
you
to
want
go about
around
it.
you, all you have to do is be its founder.
Oh,
If you are the one knocking on your neighbor's door, letting
that's something you gotta say again. If there's a community you want around you, all you have to do is be its founder. That's
here.
powerful.
If they need anything, they'll probably do the same for you. And it's so simple to build community. It's so much more likely that you're going to build community, that you're going to become a billionaire.
Yeah?
Do you know what I mean?
Come on. Like, dude, that is the facts.
Both things are incredibly hard to do. They take a lot of hard work and everything,
Yep.
and one of them means everyone will hate you.
Yep.
You know, because when you're broke as well, the thing that happens, I think, the most often is that we have a real misunderstanding of each other. Rich people, the rich people that I've met in my life, no rich person I know feels rich. They feel comfortable. Now they'll do whatever it takes to maintain their level of comfort, but they don't feel rich. They're like, no, I'm just comfortable. I'm just chilling. You show them how much they make, and they're like, yeah, I gotta maintain, you know, I got kids, and then you show them how much the rest of the world makes, and they're like, ooh. Okay, maybe we don't tell anybody how much I make. And the same thing, when you're broke, there's a genuine misunderstanding around the decisions that people make when they're poor, around the way that people think, because there's not the possibility of thinking past tomorrow, because you're not even sure you're going to get there.
Dude,
Jimmy, when
survival
you really
mode.
When you really don't have money. You come off wild sometimes because all your requests are strange, because you're just trying to piece things together just so you can make it to the next day. You know? Like, a good example is I used to work at a grocery store, and one time in the break room, we're eating our lunch, and this one dude opened his lunch and then just said out loud to everybody, hey, I made a hamburger at home, but oof, does anybody have a top bun?
I made a hamburger at home, but oof.
Sir,
Like,
they're always sold even. How did this happen? We look at money as paper, right? At least when it's in its physical form, it's this paper thing. But it's more than paper. There's fabric weaved into it. There's linen, there's cotton. It works the same way that society works. There's fabric that weaves all of us together. And there are people who have not been able to participate in the opportunities of making money or making their well-being out of these chances in the market the way that other people have. And so when you tell them that a recession is coming, they're like, oh, a what? Okay.
no, for
I
real.
was already broke.
I was already broke.
Do you know what I mean? What is a recession to somebody who was on the street the whole time? I guess the best example I can give is one time I was at a party with my friends, and I fell in the pool. And falling in the pool at a party is one of the more embarrassing things you can do when it's not a pool party. If you fall in the pool at a party where people are just sort of standing around the pool and talking, you might as well have fallen off the roof. But I fell into the pool at the party, which is not just embarrassing, it's not just annoying, because out now all my clothes are wet and everything.
Yeah.
It's terrifying because I can't swim.
Oh,
I'm not a swimmer.
So
in
you
the way
were
that I would like to be,
drowning,
in the way that I would like to be, is to
and
be able to survive.
oh my gosh.
And so
Having
when
to
it
get
comes
saved?
to swimming, I'm not only not a fan, I'm not efficient. And so I get in the water, and when you don't swim, and I don't just mean can't swim, I'm saying when you don't swim, like for fun or anything, being surrounded by water out of nowhere is very concerning. I didn't realize I had stepped into the pool until I was in the pool. So now what I feel like has happened is that I turned around and water surrounded me. So I start doing what I think swimming is innately. I start fighting the water, right? I'm punching and I'm kicking and I'm like, get off me, water. But I'm like, get back. I don't want you over here. And that's not how water works. And so I'm sifting through the water, and it's almost like swimming, except I'm staying in place underneath it. So that is drowning. What drowning is when you're swimming perfectly, but you're not going up above and you can't get your head up. You're not actually swimming. You're drowning, and it's also exhausting. You're fighting and you're punching, you're kicking, and you're moving, and you're doing a pretty good job of drowning.
Air.
If you could get your hand up, you're swimming. And if you could get your chest up, you can do that butterfly thing, now you're a swimmer. But
now you're a swimmer.
Over here, no more water. Get out of my face, right?
You're good.
So then it takes someone pulling me out of the water for me not to actually drown.
Thank goodness.
And not right after, not soon enough after, but pretty soon after, we leave the party. And
not soon enough. You didn't have a car
not
that
as soon
time.
as you would like if you almost drowned. Do you know what I mean? Like that's, and it's tough too, because like the dude saved you as your ride. So.
Oh, yep, I knew it.
Now he's doing you two favors, you know.
Yeah.
So then, man saves me. And my buddy pulls me out of the water, and now, we stay an extra 20 minutes because now he's got his MAC points.
Yes, he does. I was just about to
Save it.
I was like, dude, if you are getting saved from the dude who is also getting you a ride, you better have no complaints if dude's gonna try to gonna try to pick up a chick being like, yeah, I save people, that's just what I do, He has to flex a little bit.
Life in front of everybody.
Come on.
That's what most embarrassing. The only thing more embarrassing than like showing a whole party full of people you can't swim is to be sitting there wet while the person that's saying you trying to knock on somebody, just like, yeah, I do what I can. Try to help out the people, doing my best. Yeah. And it's like, also, my man didn't.
Spring is all about fresh starts, getting your life in order, resetting routines, decluttering. But if you've been feeling...
Look, I'm not necessarily trying to give notes on being saved, but like, my man did jump in the pool and grab me and lift me up and swim me to the shore of the edge of the pool, right? This man just stuck his arm in and kept clawing at me until he got the back of my shirt.
He didn't want to get wet for real either. He needed to look.
I'm over here, stop it, water, no, I don't want any more. And then he is over here, bow, bow. And he moved like 8 times. So he was punching me in the head while trying to save my life.
Damn.
And he finally hooks his hand behind my collar and pulls me up the way that a cat sort of lifts its kitten in his mouth. You know what I mean? Just sloppy. And then I'm also still fighting. I don't know what's pulling me up, so I don't know if that's more drowning. I don't know what the effects of drowning feel like.
I don't know what the
I'm not necessarily fighting his hand, but I am still fighting the water. And so if you were on the other side of the pool, it does look like I was drowning. He reached in, dunked me one more time just to be safe, and then pulled me up. He's trying to help me. But when he finally pulls me up and I'm over here coughing up the water and everything, this man helps me get up out of the pool and then immediately sees the eyes on him and everything, sees the opportunity, and he's like, oh, yeah, I do what I can. Also, I know he saved my life and everything, but also...
He said, I need to.
He didn't need to roll his sleeves up like that's...
He didn't want to get wet for real.
Just work like, oh, yeah, I tried.
Oh, after that.
Now you're sitting here wet, just like, can you wrap it up, get the number or don't?
Get the number or don't.
So then me, him, and some other friends head to his car once he's ready to leave, and his car won't start.
Oh.
Waited for nothing. Now, luckily, we were staying at his house, and luckily he did live close enough to the party that we could walk. It was like maybe, I don't know, like a mile and some change. It wasn't crazy.
That's not bad.
And so we start walking. As we start walking, it starts drizzling. And then
what type of luck?
Drizzling a little bit harder, and it really starts raining.
Yeah.
And when it starts raining, all my friends did a different thing when it was raining. Like, I had one friend that did the turtle.
Oh, yeah, I'm one of those. Just for a little bit. Like, once it's raining after a certain point.
Collarbones. He would have had 2 lakes on either side.
He has some deep collarbones. No, that's hilarious. Yeah, when it first starts raining, I'm not gonna lie, I hate one of those a little bit. But once you wet, like, it's just fuck it.
Of his neck, if he had just let the water hit, that would have been 2 puddles he had to carry. So I understand him trying to... And then I had another friend who was over here doing this, which genuinely pissed me off.
I'm one of those.
That's one of the craziest things.
Because you gotta see. You gotta see out your...
You have 2 hands.
Like, not over my head,
Some of your head,
but one of
not
these.
even efficiently. Where's the distance management here?
Yeah,
you better put the
that's
hand
not
on
good.
your head. Then I had another friend who just decided to lean forward because I guess he just doesn't want to wet.
Yo, I'm guilty of all of these. I'm guilty of all of these. Because literally the lean forward is when I give up doing the shoulders and I'm just like, fuck it. Let's just get through the day. Let not get rained on me. Like, yeah, the lean forward is like sort of like a head tilt down, like the water's falling on my head. I'll have like hair sort of, so it's almost like a little bit of a veil, not too much though. But yeah, that shit.
Front, he's just cool with it all hitting the back. And as it's raining and raining, my friend is over here doing this, turns to me, because I'm just walking. I'm not doing any of this. I'm just walking normal. And they're like, oh, John, you must not mind the rain.
Right. No, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Did y'all forget what we just came from?
And I was like, I almost drowned 20 minutes ago. And that's what it's like when you're broke. You're almost drowning all the time.
Dude.
People try to scare you with talks of a recession. You're like,
why the fuck would I care?
You're doing this.
Oh, man. That's, yeah.
And the way to ensure that you're going to be okay, the way to ensure that your family is going to be okay, is by creating chains, by linking up together with other people, with other families. Because the way forward, your future, I guarantee you, it's not in the market. There's a belief that, like, if I can just get enough ahead, maybe I'll pull some other people with me. And that sort of thinking is the reason that we as the people can be taken advantage of so easily when it comes to money. It's like, I can get you a little bit ahead. Oh, I'd like to be a little bit ahead, right? But the way forward, your future, I promise you, it's in your neighbor. I promise you, just...
Dude, this was
there's
needed.
no one that's going to take care of you like the people that are actually next to you. And it's kind of daunting to me. It does freak me out a little bit that there are so many people, every election, every year, no matter who's president, that expect the person in office to make them rich.
Man.
Don't you know this is America?
It's really America.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. You may like the person in office, you may not, but I guarantee you they're not going to make you rich.
Nope.
That's not how anything works. And don't get me wrong, I've had dreams before. I had a hard time getting to know people, and I had a hard time communicating with people.
Yeah.
I'm an only child, and my mom wanted me to have friends so I wouldn't be crazy. And so, as a single parent with one kid, my mom, the only thing she knew how to do was go ahead and take me over to her other single parents, friends' houses where they had one kid, and she was like, maybe y'all will just play and not be
They
crazy
always gotta
together.
try it.
And sure enough, there was a time in my life where my parents got back together, and so we were a two-income household, so I started to get the good toys, right? The real good toys. I'm talking WCW, NWO, wrestling toys, Sting, Goldberg, Kevin Nash.
Bringing some old heads back.
And sure enough, you know, I remember I got those toys. Those are some of my favorite toys in the world because I didn't know ankles had come out yet.
Ankles.
I would hold up my Kevin Nash and I'd be like, bow, 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 bow. Look what he does. Bow, 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 bow. He had knees, he had ankles, he could do this. That's crazy.
No, that was gone.
I was used to this only. Maybe if you were getting fancy, some of this, but I wasn't used to this. This thing right here, this is crazy. Real shoulder movement.
No, that's hard.
My mind was blown. So look at what this thing can do. Bow, 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 right? And so then my mom took me over to her friend's house, and her friend had a kid, and you know, I went ahead and brought over two of my toys. I brought my Kevin Nash and I brought my Sting because I'm trying to make a good impression. And so we're talking, they're talking, and finally we go to his room to play, and my mom leaves to go run some errands or something.
Cool.
And I quickly realized after my mom left that he was crazy. He was genuinely crazy because all of his toys, every single one of his toys, didn't have a face. None of his toys had faces. I don't know if he was chewing them or if he was burning them, but they were gone. And so he looked at my Sting toy and he was like, oh, we have the same one. And I was like, I don't see how that's possible.
He fucked that shit up.
I don't see how that's possible. And then sure enough, this kid pulls out his Sting toy, and I know we have the same toy because the Sting had the jacket. The jacket you could put on, you could take off and everything. And so we're playing, and I'm trying to be a collaborative new friend, right? I'm like, what do you want to do? You want to do Legos? You want to do, like, wrestlers, whatever? And then we decided Legos. So I was like, do you want to build a castle? You want to build a wall? What do you want to do? So we decided to build a castle, right? And then this kid, we're halfway through the castle, maybe 100 pieces to go. And this kid grabs the castle, lifts it up, throws it against the wall. It explodes into like 190,000 pieces. And I'm like, what did you do that for? And he goes, don't talk to me.
You had an anger moment?
And I was like, oh man, yeah,
I'm gonna
chill,
get my
Satan,
stuff in
chill,
jail.
okay?
Chill,
back
Sam.
up, devil, okay? Because I had been prepared in case the situation happened. Because I knew I wasn't a crazy only child, but I knew there were other crazy only children out there. So I already had my thing on me, right? I had that lance in my back pocket. I was like, don't you come near me. I will cut you open. This thing is 6 weeks old.
Relax. Nah, that's hilarious. Yo, shout out Josh Johnson, man. We're gonna binge some more of these, keep it going and all of that. But yeah, shout out y'all for the continuous support. Like I genuinely mean that. Like y'all are the best. Like I don't know what else to say. Like we gonna keep this going. I'm gonna keep this content going for y'all. Cause that was really good. Like, damn. Josh Johnson really be killing it. Like that was a very much needed conversation, I feel like, with our community and everything else. So like, damn, y'all. Yeah, shout out Josh Johnson. If I'm gonna be binging the content, but if y'all wanna, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and get that. He has plenty of other videos and stuff like that. So yeah, just show love, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Josh Johnson again. If y'all like the video, like it, it'll help out the small channels like me, and consider subscribing, because all we do is chill over here. With that being said, that's about it. Y'all be great. Y'all be safe. Keep on getting to that bag, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace.